What up, everybody? This is your boy Blak Magus, and got an announcement from Microsoft that there's a Gears of War Reloaded remastered coming out August 26th. This is hot on the heels, of course, them doing the whole thing where they announced that Oblivion was being remastered and re-released, day and date when the announcement was made. Forget the exact date it was done, but um, you know, Microsoft's definitely putting out a bunch of stuff lately, which is pretty cool, even if it's remasters. And I think a lot of people know how I feel. Like, while I don't mind remasters, I also do find it funny how, like, you know, with movies, other media, gaming included, people just don't seem to want to put out new stuff. Well, no, I can't say they don't want to put out new stuff because there's been a lot of new games, but like the whole relying on remaking or remastering something, it kind of like has always bugged me in a way because it's like a cheap thrill, and I can't be mad at the companies because again, we buy this stuff, we consume it, right? So it is what it is. Now, and it's funny because I'm saying all this knowing that me, as someone who never had a chance to play Gears of War because I never owned an Xbox, and at the time when it came out, it also came out on PC. I didn't have a strong enough PC to run the first Gears of War. This would interest me very much so. As I have a PC now that could run this remastered. I don't have an Xbox, of course, but at least I have the PC. And I do have Game Pass for PC, which pretty much means that I'll have access to this game. But here's the interesting thing about this is that it's not just coming to PC and Xbox, but it's going to be on PS5, which to me is a strong signal that I was right. Um, And when I say I was right, it's funny. I was talking to my boy Cardiac about this. How like it only took me 12 years to be vindicated on my opinion from 2013. Back when the Xbox One came out, and Microsoft was talking about how the platform was going to be this whole entertainment system for everybody, where grandma can watch movies, mom and dad can do this and that, and like the kids can play their games, like basically selling the Xbox One as an entertainment system and not just a gaming console. I mentioned in a couple of podcasts and my own personal videos, which I wish I wouldn't have deleted. I would listen to someone who said like you need to start deleting older content to make your platform more attractive, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you should just leave everything up, and like for a couple of years I was just deleting old content, some really fucking good content that I deleted, that I wish I never had, and now I can't find that shit anymore because I lost the backups to it. But that's neither here nor there. That's off topic. Let me get back on topic. But my point was, when they did the whole big announcement for Xbox One and they started talking about the different things other than gaming it could do, I said that I think Microsoft is moving to a point where they're trying to be just a brand. It's not just trying to have Xbox as a physical thing, but Xbox as the brand, and selling that brand to be utilized, in the long run, beyond just on the console, but as a platform itself, which, as we see with stuff like Game Pass and things like that, definitely has become that. But now this, to me, solidifies it because exclusivity is not a thing anymore with them. Again, they want you to buy into Xbox Studios, Xbox products. They don't care where you do it. They just want you to buy into it. And I feel like it's something that I said back in the day because I remember when the current CEO I cannot remember his name right now, but when he was hired, I was, full disclosure, I've taken business classes. I have a business degree. So in taking these classes, I used to do a lot of research on business and pay attention to business articles. And I remember when they hired their new CEO, one of the big things he was known for was like consolidating things into a brand and like getting rid of like hardware or other products that are being produced and being more about third party licensing. And it was like between the way that they started marketing the Xbox One, that's why I made that call, that I think that they're just trying to build the brand itself into something that can be put anywhere. You don't need hardware to connect it to. And I think this, like I said, solidifies it because, hey, now we're at the point where you can play Microsoft games just about anywhere. And I think Gears of War is a big shot at, like, concreting that mentality. I mean, they already had it to where I believe you can get Game Pass on Nintendo. They've been trying to get Game Pass on Sony platforms. If you're a PC owner like me, you can get Xbox Game Pass for PC, save a little money, and still have access to all their library, or whatever they choose to put on their library, plus extras. And now that they're releasing games on other platforms, they're not just doing like the Game Pass thing. They're releasing these things for sale. Ironically, the platform that was started with former Sega employees who were determined to get payback for what they felt like was Sony putting them out of business as a console manufacturer. We're back to the point where, like, I think we're getting to, hey, you may not need another Xbox, or you may not get another Xbox. I know there's the rumors about the handheld, but that, again, is being third party. They're not building their own product in house. They're licensing it off to somebody else. At least that's the rumors. We don't know if this handheld is coming, if it's true, but the rumors said that they're dealing with another party to manufacture the hardware and then putting the Xbox platform on that hardware as a handheld. But yeah, we're at that point where, again, it's the brand that matters most. And I've said it before too. I always enjoyed Microsoft products when Microsoft wasn't necessarily manufacturing the platform. Like, their peripherals have always been great. Sidewinder is the granddaddy or great granddaddy, however you want to put it, of the Xbox controller. They've always made great controllers back when it was Sidewinder. And they've continued to do that. Now you can buy the controller. I actually have two Xbox. I think they're the most current Xbox controllers for my PC. They're great. They always make great controllers. They've always made great peripherals like mice, keyboards, things like that. And when they were publishing games back in the day, they also had like a lot of cool quality games that came to the PC. Now they are able to be a publisher for multiple platforms. I think this is where Microsoft's in their warehouse, and I think this benefits them more because the cost to manufacture a console is ridiculous. Like the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era was the era where like we started getting hardware where the companies could actually make some type of profit off the hardware itself. Hardware development was always a loss. Developing hardware for distributing games had always been something that was a loss. It was the games that always have made the money. But now that Microsoft is starting to put the games off to different places and put it on different areas, I mean, Gears of War is going to be on Steam. Think about that. There was a point where Microsoft only sold their games on the Windows gaming platform, which collapsed and then kind of came back. But since they're dealing with other companies and doing that, it puts them in a position to be super profitable and to be super successful and not have to deal with the issues that Nintendo and Sony's going to have to deal with. Especially now with the whole thing with the tariffs fucking with shit and making costs like go out of hand and like potentially ruin your potential to sell product because your manufacturing is based in countries in which the government is going after with these terrorists. Like, yeah, Microsoft, they put themselves in a pretty position. And I think, like, you know, hey, not mad at them for it. Not mad at them all. Like, you know, again, I think Microsoft was at their best when they were just a publisher and a maker of peripherals. I think they've gone back to those roots. I think that's going to be very, very good for them. I know for Xbox fans, it's fucked up, but I also notice a lot of Xbox fans have gone with the flow, you know, which that's how fan bases are. Like, especially if you're a fanatic, you're going to go with whatever your brand says. So, yeah. You know, cool. Actually looking forward to an opportunity to play Gears of War finally. I've played Gears of War 4. That's the only Gears of War game I've played. But if I could actually start from the beginning, that would be cool. I think that would be a cool thing to do. Yeah. For somebody like me. But for others, like, of course, nostalgia will draw a lot of people back. And Gears of War is a very big title in gaming. And the fact that they're going to have multiplayer too, and it's going to be cross-platform, that's going to excite a lot of people because, you know, a lot of people, you know, again, nostalgia, get old Gears of War multiplayer was the best of Gears of War multiplayer, so that'll draw people too. For people like me who never played the story from the beginning, that'll draw me. You know, works out perfectly for Microsoft, so good on you, Microsoft. Anyway, as always, you guys hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Blak, makers, and I'm out. Deuces.